Joining me on the other side of the aisle, Senator James Lankford. So let's pick up there, Senator, with this idea of this sanctions package, the idea of enforcement, especially when it involves third-party countries. Will it work, and are Republicans going to wait for a signal from the White House to go ahead and pull that trigger, or at this point it's veto-proof? Do you just move it forward?
Well, right now we want to put as many tools in the president's hands as he possibly wants or needs in the toolbox to be able to put an end to this war. I mean, we go back just in the last 15 years. We've got the Russian invasion of Crimea under President Obama. Then the Russia doesn't move forward under President Trump in the first administration. And then literally President Joe Biden says it depends on how far Russia invades Ukraine, whether we'll engage more. Russia then takes that as a signal, moves into Ukraine. Back into President Trump's time period now, and they're not advancing. Trump is trying to be able to end this war. Let's give as many tools in his hands as he possibly could use to be able to bring an end to the bloodshed there.
Well, you know, many of your colleagues have said that this president has been, and meaning Democrat colleagues, he's been too deferential to Putin. He's said time and time again, we'll know in a week, we'll know in 2 weeks. This is the red line. And they're waiting to see the hammer drop on Putin. This is what Max Boot writes over at the Washington Post. He says Putin's diplomatic offensive is merely creating breathing space for his troops to continue their war of aggression. Thus, the latest peace talks, far from ending the killing, are actually perpetuating it. What do you make of that?
Yeah. It's so interesting. Every time President Trump tries to move to do something to try to end the war, Democrats will say it's not enough or it's the wrong thing. Joe Biden was not moving to be able to end this war. President Trump is actively moving to be able to end this war and to use every piece of leverage he can. He's dealing with a war criminal, thug, former KGB agent that is Putin. Putin does not want to end this war. He is the aggressor in this war and will continue to be able to push until he's pushed back. We're providing the weapon systems. We're providing the ability for Ukraine to be able to fight back. President Trump has brought together a remarkable group of European leaders all in one massive meeting in the White House to be able to talk about how can all of Europe be more involved in trying to be able to end this war, not just supply weapons to be able to help Ukraine perpetuate it, but how do we actually bring an end to it and have Ukraine as a standing sovereign nation at the end of it that continue to function. So Ukraine, as you mentioned before on this, and your reporter mentioned, they've been a sovereign nation since 1991. They're just celebrating their independence. They have one of the largest prayer gatherings in their nation's history that is coming up actually this week. So they're fighting, they're praying, they're working towards maintaining their independence, and we should stand with them.
Okay, we will continue to track every twist and turn and maybe find out more about those security guarantees in a couple of days, what they would look like. In the meantime, you got a lot of fights waiting for you when you come back from the August recess here in the Senate. There's going to be this funding fight with the threat of a potential government shutdown if there's not new funding by the end of September. Democrats have said, some of them, they think that's their best leverage they've had in this second Trump administration so far, that looming fight. You're going to reintroduce a bill that would handle government shutdowns. So tell us what it would do. And won't you need Democrats to get it past a filibuster? Because I don't know that they sound like they'd be supportive.
Yeah, it is just this crazy, silly season in the Senate right now, trying to be able to get to legislation. Democrats have blocked all of our nominees and for President Trump and the confirmation there. All of them. This has literally never happened before, that every single one of them has been filibustered, which when we're working through the nomination process, that means you can't actually get to legislation to actually do that part of our work as well, because they've slowed down all the nomination process. Now we've got to be able to finish all of the appropriation bills, 12 of them, by the 30th of September. We're not going to be able to get to all of those. We're out of time to be able to do it. So we're going to have some kind of continuing resolution to keep the government open. I've worked across the aisle for years on this. And I have a bill that prevents government shutdowns. It is very simple. It is, quite frankly, something my mom would have taught me years ago. That is, if you don't finish your work in class, you got to stay after to be able to continue your work. This just basically says if we get to the end of the fiscal year, we don't have all the appropriation bills done, you got to stay in session continuously, 7 days a week, and you can only work on appropriation bills until we actually get those things done. It locks us in the classroom and says stay at work until you actually finish this part of it, and you can't work on other things on it. It puts pressure on Congress where it needs to be. We need to end government shutdowns and the drama of this, but we absolutely need to have the fight on debt and deficit. We have $37 trillion of total debt as a nation. Let's have the fight about budget, but let's not have it during a government shutdown.
So the lockdown, the staying here 7 days a week, the working on only appropriations, I questioned whether Democrats would get involved with that. Will all your Republican colleagues vote for that?
Oh, not only have my Republican colleagues vote for it, it has been in our conference rules that we approve of this for the last 6 years. Every single year, we have come up and said we want to end government shutdowns. We want to stop this drama. My dance partner on this is Maggie Hassan, Democrat from New Hampshire, that she and I actually wrote this bill together. It has had Democratic support on this. It puts the pressure where the pressure needs to be. No one goes home. No one moves to other things. We've got to be able to finish up appropriation bills. That's the basic work of the Senate. And right now, Democrats are working to keep us on confirmation and nominations to prevent us to get from all the basic other constitutional work that has got to be done. We've got to do both on this. We got to finish the fight on confirmation. That may mean fighting to change the rules there. We're working to be able to find a way to be able to get this right. But then also, we've got to be able to get to our basic rule of actually getting appropriations work done.
All right, Senator, before you go, I got to ask you about this. What about the Sunshine Protection Act? We all want to know whether there is bipartisan support where you could finally get this across the finish line where we're not changing our clocks twice a year anymore. Is there any hope?
I am all in. This is something I fought for. People made fun of me 4 years ago to be able to sponsor a bill that says we're going to get rid of time change on this. I have to tell you my favorite story. I'm in a Veterans Day parade years ago. A veteran deep in his 80s stands up watching the parade, comes to me in the parade route, shakes my hand in the middle of the parade route and says, "Before I die, will you get rid of time change?" I hate it. I have to tell you, moms don't like it. Farmers, ag folks don't like it. It is an anomaly left over from World War I and World War II. We need to just go back to locking the clock on that.
Yeah, we owe him that. And all those mamas and daddies with little ones as well. As you said, they feel the pain. Senator, thanks for your time. Always good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.